Dementia residents understand the stress of being newly admitted to a dementia unit. So with any of the new ones that come in, they make the effort to communicate and say hello and how are you, and try and make them feel welcome. Of course, this is more easily done if you're articulate, but even those that aren't that articulate and unable to express themselves as well, they too make an effort with smiles and welcoming, warm expressions to try and make the person feel welcome, because they know that it's a very stressful time. Now, it's especially stressful for a person that's being admitted that has aphasia, who's aphasic and has difficulty getting out their words, even though they can understand. It's very difficult because they can't make friends as easily if they can't communicate verbally. They can still, in time, make friends through gestures and presence and understanding body language, but initially, of course, it's quite hard. So that's why group work is very advantageous for people that are aphasic. If they come into the group, they understand what's going on, there's a group topic at hand, other people are speaking, then if they agree with it and they want to put forward their viewpoint, all they need to say is yeah, or nod their head or express themselves like this, and you know that indeed they're agreeing with it. And there was one lady, actually, she was a former nurse, and she pretty much, occasionally she'd managed to say the odd word, but most of the time not. But she was very expressive, as if she was talking half the time. So, and she'd make sure that you listened to her as well. Like in the workshops, if she agreed with something, she'd, be forthright. If she didn't like something, she'd nod her head vehemently until you worked out what it was she was trying to say, and she wouldn't rest until you had. So there are some people that can't speak, or in the sense of the formal sense, but they are confident enough to make their voice heard, which is a great thing. Now, with these newly admitted dementia residents, there was one particular resident at the unit I worked at. She was a confident woman, very limited speech, confident persona, limited speech. All she could really say capably was, it's important to be positive, which she was. And when a dementia resident fell over, she'd call out to the staff and say, help, help, they need help. They were pretty much the main lines. But she did make an effort, and she wanted to speak. She wanted to improve herself. She came to all the activities, and remarkably, what happened was that one of the dementia residents, who was very articulate, well-read, and could converse extremely well, took this woman under her wing and realised that she wanted to learn her son's names. She'd forgotten her son's names, except the one that visited regularly. She wanted to know her other two sons' names. And so this former school teacher, the articulate one, got the two names from the nurse's station of this woman's sons, put them on a little piece of paper, put them in her walker, and another piece of paper to the woman who she was teaching, an everyday event occurrence often, because the pieces of paper would get lost. I'd get the pieces of paper again, sit down at the window seat, and the training would begin. Learning the names of her two sons over and over. And this articulate woman, the former teacher, who usually did not have much patience or indeed tolerance, for some reason, with her newfound student, who she said was very intelligent, and I always knew it, managed to enable her to learn her two sons' names. Isn't that remarkable? When the two sons at separate times came in and their mother knew their name after years of not, they were astounded. But anyway, from this training that she was receiving from this former teacher, her word skills really improved, and she was able to help the new residents coming in, and she'd sit them down and she'd say something like this. She'd say, now, I know it takes time to adjust here and to adapt, but I want to tell you that you're welcome. We all welcome you here, and it is a nice place, and the staff are good, and the food is very good, and you'll always be happy when you eat good food. And there's some nice men here, and we get on well with them, and the staff treat us well. So all you need to do is relax. You don't need to work, and you don't need to cook. You just have to sit back and enjoy yourself. So that was her introduction to the new residents. So everyone has their different way. Some are more articulate than others. Some improve with time, some regress with time, but still, main thing being friendliness and kindness to the new residents is a really important feature in a dementia unit. If you've got that in place and the established residents are generous enough, good enough, kind enough, and want to help the new dementia residents adjust and, accommodate to being in the place, it really helps the new people, because without that it can be extremely disorientating. But with it, I would say, with that in place, with that positive culture in place, I'd say most people coming in would manage to adjust. But without it, I don't know, probably 50% would have a hard time, maybe even more. So I've written about this at length in these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both on Amazon and my website, description below. All the wonderful things that the dementia residents did and what they came up with, and their innovations is in the first half of each book as a novel. Second half are all the DIY, do-it-yourself educationals to help friends and family who have their family members going into dementia units. And so in particular, the first book, The Resident's Voice, is to help those people going into a unit, and The Resident's Rise, those that are already in a unit. So many things in there. Good reads, not depressing, by the way. Progressive, I'd say. Positive and progressive, not depressing. So I've particularly done it. I was advised actually not to make it depressing. So I have done that and kept with that ethos. Hopefully you'll find the same with these videos on YouTube and TikTok. So thank you for your support and your kindness and your likes. Please pass on the links and subscribe. Thank you.